Hi, Julie Jones, mental performance coach with SSB Performance, Smarter, Stronger, Better Mindset Training, here with this week's Mindset Made Simple tip of the week. And this week, we're talking about our thoughts. Are our thoughts affecting our performance? We think a lot. In fact, I've had to take this a couple times because I've been thinking ahead and the words aren't coming out right. But we have a lot of thoughts in our head. We say a lot of things to ourselves. We say about 16,000 words literally out of our mouth every day. We think quadruple that, 10 times that. I heard somewhere that the State of the Union address is about 5,000 words. That's about the average. We say one of those to ourselves every hour. We're saying a lot of stuff to ourselves. Most of it is non-productive at the time. So what does that say? Research also says that our mind wanders about 47% of the time. You've read this before if you've read my Mindset Made Simple tips. But think about that. So if you're a basketball coach, your players for 2 quarters are somewhere else. Somewhere else. You recognize this, right? You tell your players what you're going to do. You say it numerous different ways. And the inevitable question comes, what are we doing? You want to pull your hair out. But same thing happens to you. You ever read a passage and read it 5 times? Like, what did I read? Our mind wanders. We are excellent time travelers. We spend a lot of time thinking about the future. We spend a lot of time thinking about the past. Neither one of those places really help us when we're trying to execute a skill. It doesn't matter if we're trying to hit a ball, shoot a shot, give a speech, record a video. If we're not thinking about what is at hand, we will not execute well. If we have all these thoughts, 90% of these thoughts are thoughts we've already had, thoughts that we're ruminating about, thoughts that we had, I don't know, 3 days ago, 500 times, thoughts that we had 10 decades ago that are still haunting us, thoughts we had 2 seasons ago about why didn't I make this call. All of these thoughts disrupt our present tense self. As Dr. Ziegler, my mentor, our sports psychologist at Cleveland State, used to say, you can only think one thought at a time. So when you're at the plate, you better be thinking ball. If you're not thinking ball, you're not going to get a hit. If you're worried about what coach is thinking, if you're worried about what your dad's thinking, you're not going to get a hit. If you're worried about what the parents are thinking about your call, you're not going to make the next right call. You're not going to be paying attention to the call that you've made. It's that simple. One thought. We don't get to decide our thoughts. We get to decide how we react to our thoughts. Are we going to allow the thought to take up that valuable space, that one thought space? What thought are we going to allow to take that space up? That's what we get to choose. We get to choose that. Is it easy? No. Simple? Yes. Easy? No. We know that. I started thinking about this as I was walking at my son's cross country practice the other day. There's a path. You enter one spot and it says, you entered the stress-free zone. And there is littered with signs that say, stop. What do you see? And then you walk a little further. Stop for a moment. What do you hear? Stop for a moment. What do you smell? And at the end, you'll see the picture if you go to my website, ssbperformance.com, and you go to the Mindset Made Simple, there's a sign that says, relive or recall your funniest memory. Laughter heals the soul. It doesn't matter if it's pretend laughter or real laughter. That's one of the great things when I was at Akron. My assistant coach made me laugh every day. She also made me angry, but she made me laugh every day. I miss that in my life daily. I was healthier because of that. Maybe not as healthy because of some of the other stress, but healthier because of the laughter. But in those moments of laughter, we're present. We're thinking about a thought that keeps us where we are. We know we can hear ourselves laugh. It's great. But this path made me think of our cognitive behavioral therapy exercise that we use with athletes, the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 exercise. What are 5 things you can see? What are 4 things you can touch? What are 3 things you can hear? What are 2 things that you can smell? What's 1 thing that you can taste? Wherever you are thinking, wherever your mind is, if you pay attention to your surroundings, instead of paying attention to all that chatter, all those State of the Union addresses that you're saying on the inside, if you can pay attention to something outside of you, it will bring you back to the present, back to where you need to be to execute. Now, granted, you may not have time to go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 in a game or in a speech or in anything else. But even if you did one of those things, even if you ask yourself this simple question, what can I see? What can I hear? What can I smell? Ask one of them. It pulls you back to the present. If we want to execute to the best of our ability, we have to be in the moment. I used to have in our rules, be there. They made fun of me for it, but be there. Wherever there is now. You can't be somewhere else and execute your job. So think about that this week. Think about 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pick one that you like the best, or just count back 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then think of something great. Either way, what we're doing is we're training our minds to come back to the present. And being a champion is more about refocusing than it is focusing. We're going to wander. We're built that way. There are pros and cons to it. You can read about it in the tip this week. But if we can figure out when we need to be present, when we're not present, or if you have an athlete that's got deer in headlights and you're like, whoa, I got to get this kid back here. Ask them to think or look at 5 things, feel 4 things, smell 2 things, hear 3 things. Out of order there, but you get the picture. Think about your thoughts, all of them. Don't think about all of them, actually. Not a good advice. But how can you get back to where you need to be? Simple tools will help. If you'd like to listen to more, go to YouTube, SSB Performance. Go to my website, ssbperformance.com. Julie J at ssbperformance.com if you'd like to reach me. I'd love to talk more about this for you and your team. Until next week, have a great week. Stay present.